And we are back. Another, well, not so pretty day, but hey, we got a warm-ish dry shop. We can have a little fun, tinker on some old cars, and make a little progress. So, speaking of progress, we'll show you the one we're gonna work on today. Look at this beauty. 1978-ish. Custom Nova. Yeah, she's a beaut. You could see in the last video, maybe last video, a couple videos ago, this poor car had a tree and fallen right across it. We'll show you some clips of us sawing it off. It was pretty funny. As you can see, after we got it cleaned up, little whoop-de-doo on the trim. Obviously the glass is smoked. Not too bad, all in all. Considering it had a tree fall on it that was pretty decent size, I think it fared well. I'll show you what we did last night, tinkering on a little bit. Probably insert little clips of me fumbling around on a Friday night when I was about half burnt out. But we put a little, we got our magic combination here. Regular old Dex Merc, Marvel Mystery Oil. Whoop. Little, I think this is for a differential fill. I don't know. The hard plastic end makes it where you can put in the spark plug holes, marinate the cylinders. Now luckily it does turn over a little bit by hand, so that's good. And as you can see, the plugs show no signs of, I don't know, being waterlogged or anything crazy. I mean, it just looks like it was a kind of rich running small block. 305 edition, 2-barrel model. HEI should make it a lot easier to start this thing up, so we'll see. First things first, let it, like I said, set from, I don't know, I put the Marvel Mystery Oil in it around 8 o'clock last night, and it's, I don't know, I slept in. It's about noon the next day. I think it's marinated long enough. We're gonna get a wrench on the crank. We're gonna turn it over. We're gonna do two things. We're gonna make sure that it doesn't have any ridges in the cylinder walls. It's gonna push a good bit of the Marvel Mystery Oil out. And then we're gonna attempt to hook the starter up. And the reason I don't just start with the starter is if there is a ridge somewhere on the cylinder wall, we don't want to go in there and just like hammer it with a starter and break the rings into 100 pieces. I don't need Eric to build me another motor right now, so we're gonna ease it around slow. And also doing it with the wrench is going to keep the Mystery Oil from going into orbit. So first things first, our crank bolt, the main one, it's going to be a 5/8. And you want to just ease it around. Don't get too crazy with it. And also remember, this thing has like 2 quarts of ATF in it, in the cylinder. So be careful, you might end up getting an ATF shower. And yep, it begins. All right, give me an extension because that rusty sway bar is kind of rough on the old knuckles. Put a drain pan down because, well, to be honest, I just forgot. Well, I mean, turn over really smooth. I don't feel any ridges. I can hear it pumping it out. I mean, the shower of Mystery Oil is almost stopped. I'm getting a little bored. Maybe time to hook up the old Lone Wolf starter button. See if that thing has any juice in it. All right, now, how do we test the starter? Well, usually we hit the key, but this particular car doesn't have a key. That's where this guy comes in handy. The Lone Wolf 3000. Basically, just 2 leads with a momentary button. One up to the battery, one up to the starter. Hit the button, should turn over. Obviously, well, I say starter, to the signal wire on the starter. I'll show you. Stole the battery out of one of the poor cars that were sitting outside not running. So here we go. All right, now as you can see, everything is covered in our little concoction. Great. But what we're looking for is this guy right here. That's what we're gonna call our signal wire for the starter. So main power and signal, and that's what we're trying to trigger. Now we just have to see if we can clean that up a little bit. Maybe stick a wire brush in there. Put our alligator clamp. Hopefully right. Oh, well, get out of here. Get. Have Spider-Man in here. And the little nut, little stud back in there. But got to clean up a little wire brush first, but you get the idea. We got our borrowed battery in here. And as you can see, top post battery, factory side post. But as you can also see, yeah, it's been a long time since that was a good terminal. Same for that. So what we do, we're gonna do the old top post conversion kit here. Boop, something like that. That one. I don't know. This battery has two different size terminals on top. Whatever. We'll just kind of smack it down there until they work. So yeah, all we do here, we just give them the old snipperooski, hope and pray that the wire isn't rotten all the way down. Most likely it is. If we can get just enough good wire and just enough good juice, maybe we can get this thing to make a little smoke today. We'll see. Cut that off. Now tell me, anyone knows of good large gauge wire strippers? Let me know where to get them. I've been doing this trick right here forever, and it's kind of a pain. I'd really like to have a good set of dedicated large gauge wire strippers. This, oh well, yeah, if I don't have the safety on, it helps a lot. There. Just barely trim the sheath off, and then whoop, send the insulation into orbit, and there you go. That'll be the positive. The same thing for the negative. And I think that wire is just kind of for chassis ground, I think. It'll be fine. What we're gonna do on this car is we're gonna isolate all the electrical system anyway. Cars like this has been sitting forever and ever. You don't know how many mice have been in here and ruined things and chewed on things, and uh-oh. This wire looks like it's bad. Let's see, come here you. So we kind of don't hook up any of the chassis stuff and only hook up the motor stuff to get it running. That way, if there's an issue with like short to ground, don't have to worry about fires or battery draws. Everything's all isolated right here inside the engine compartment. And as you can see, that white dust, that's not good. This cable, most likely junk. But we'll see if we can cut it back a little more. If not, we might have to. Yep, you can see right there, we still got white powder. And now the cable's too short. Cool, now we get to put a ground cable on, and between the battery, 2 new terminals, and the ground cable, we've pretty much doubled the value of the car. Hey, do me a favor. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, check out our website, bestdamnshoparound.com. Get you some cool merch, shirts, hats, stickers, we got it, koozies, not beers, you know what we're talking about. Tell us what you want. Drop it down in the comments and let us know. Do you like the builds? Do you like the will it runs? Do you like the rescues? What do you want to see more of? You let us know. Hey, we'll try to do it. And back to the fun. Got our battery cables hooked up. Now I know this is crazy. Found this one laying around, and it happens to be red, and it's the ground. And the positive happens to be a black cable. I know what it is. I can read plus and negative. I'll tell the next guy the same thing, so don't freak out over that. Got our starter button switchy situation. We got it hooked up to the positive. Got our power probe hooked up here. Looks like we got 12 3/0 battery. Let's see what happens. What the? Not even a click? Let's investigate. I love cars, I love cars, I love cars. Gotta keep telling myself I love cars because these things can be frustrating. Let me catch you up. I wasn't able to film everything because greasy, nasty hands. Don't want to mess the GoPro up. I'm here by myself, but let's show you what I ran into. Long story short, factory starter, intermittent. It would work, and then it wouldn't, and it worked, and it wouldn't. I took it off, tested it. It's basically intermittent junk. Found another one on the shelf. Also intermittent junk. Found a third one, installed it in the car. Well, tested it on the floor, installed it in the car, and turns out my height was different here. That made some interesting, made for some interesting adapters, but it all bolts up. The center line of the shaft is now equal to the bottom of the block, basically. So, in theory, this one will work. Theory. I love cars, I love cars, I love cars. Woo. All right, let's see. Fingers crossed. Whoa, now we're talking. Yes, sir. All right. Makes noise. Now, let's see if we can check for spark and compression and all those things. All right, so don't mind the humming of the battery charger. Don't want to kill my battery for the race car outside. Now I'll show you how we check with spark. Now we talked about HEI. These are basically, I don't know if you'd really want to call them a one-wire distributor, but it takes one wire to operate them. On the side of the plug, or on the side here, you have, on this particular model, one plug coming in. And it looks like this guy right, come here, buddy. This guy right here. Now, there's two spots for plugs right here, a right and a left. He was on the right hand side, and this gives you power from like the ignition to turn the distributor on, or to power it up, I should say. I went ahead and unplugged it because I can't do it with one hand, and I hooked a little test lead up, a little alligator clip to the right side, and I ran that through our little Harbor Freight special over here to the power. So, in theory, now, with our spark plug and the spark plug wire resting here where it doesn't shock me or catch fire on anything, in theory, we should be able to hook that up to the positive, and we should see a little lightning. Going live. Yes, I love cars, I love cars, I love cars. Yes, so it turns over, sparks. Now we need to put some new spark plugs in and put some fuel down its throat. See what happens. Maybe we do a compression test, but probably not. I'm kind of impatient, so let's just see what happens. Now, one of our great viewers made a very good point that I don't stress safety enough. Hey, I love the constructive criticism. You're right, I do a lot of things. I take for granted my experience, and I do kind of, skirt the boundaries of safety. So, first things first, safety glasses for our new spark plugs. And by new, I mean freshly restored. Much better. Now, just repeat 7 more times. We got the good old compression tester, aka Dream Crusher, out here. So, went ahead and started on this side just because I was closer. Started with cylinder number 2. Now, a couple things. We want to disconnect our lead for distributor. Don't want any spark for any silly reason. Want to make sure our carburetor's open so we get as much air as possible. And usually we want to make sure the battery's as charged as it can be so that it can turn it over faster. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. All right, let's see what cylinder 2 is talking about. Okay. 150. pretty good. We'll go over here to our handy dandy notepad. You can see this is our engine, 2468 1357. There's my little attempt at a fan. There's my little attempt at a distributor, even though it kind of looks more like a tiki monster or something. So we'll just go ahead and jot down what number 2 is talking about. This will be a 150 for that one. Now, 7 more to go. All right, cylinder 4. Oh, come on, glare. There we go. Going live. Come on, little buddy. Keep going. Keep going. 65. Not so great. Let's try to put a little more juice to it, see if that makes a difference. All right, now cylinder 6 did come around a little more with the battery charger on, 85 PSI. Excuse me, that was cylinder 4. Now we're on cylinder 6. Let's see what cylinder 6 is talking about. Come here. Oh, come on now. There we go. About 80. Not ideal. Now, time for cylinder 8. See what she's talking about. Oh, there. Whoa, now. Hey, Zeus. She's talking about like 165 PSI. Cylinder 8. That's an overachiever trying to make up for the rest of them. All right, we made it around here to the driver's side. I've kind of cleaned this off a little bit. I mean, it's covered in overspray. It's lived in a body shop most of its life. But we're on cylinder 1. Let's have some fun. Oh yeah. What in the? Well, we must have a leak. Hold on. We might have to snug this guy up a little more. The O-ring was looking a little shot down at the bottom as well. Try it again. Well, she basically bounced off of 150. We're gonna call that pretty good and move to the next cylinder, see if we can figure that out. All right, time for cylinder 3. She's basically banging about 165. O-rings are kind of tore up on the bottom, so we're just gonna take that as pretty close. All right, time for cylinder 5 to take its turn. We'll call that 120. Not too bad. All right, last one that needs tested, cylinder 7. Let's go. Basically 130. Not too bad. So when we grab my last one. That was $120, $130. Yeah, so all in all, not too bad. Like, you know, obviously it'd be ideal if the rest of them are like old cylinder 8 over there, but gotta think, this thing's been sitting since, God, I have to look at the tag. I mean, it's been sitting 25 years plus. Chances it's got a little carbon stuck on the rings is pretty good. The fact that, what is that, 6 out of 8 are above 100, actually 6 out of 8 are above 120. It's pretty good. Throw some plugs in it, throw some fuel down its throat. Let's see if we can make some smoke. All right, so now, in theory, plugs in, cleaned up. I double checked all the gaps, made sure they were consistent. Cleaned them off with a little brake parts cleaner, popped them in. The wires are a little suspect. I'm not 100% sure they're good, but we're gonna try them. Yeah, so now we're gonna start hooking stuff up. We're gonna start by hooking up. Oh, I already got starter switch hooked up. Then we got our coil, boop, and we got only the finest ethanol free 93. We'll give that a little healthy dose. Let's see what happens. Will it start on the first try? Probably not. Going live. Well, the battery died, but hopefully you could hear that. Sorry for the sound of the fan. Started getting a little stinky in here, but that was the best and worst sound you can hear from a first startup. It fired up right off the bat, first try. Didn't attempt it before I started the camera or anything. Boom. But I think this one's knocking on heaven's door. We're gonna try it again. Put a fresh battery in, so hopefully we can run it for a couple seconds. And it's knocking. It's not good, but let's at least hear it. Not ideal. We both heard it. Now, there is a very, very slight chance. I was just thinking through my, just going through my thoughts there as it was running and killing my hopes. There's a very slight chance. Now, we think back, for some reason, they took the drive shaft out of this car. It was in the back seat. And they started taking the linkage off the shifter, and that was that. Is the flex plate cracked? I mean, that is a thing. Probably not. It's probably at least 2 rod bearings just sent off to the great beyond. Well, I don't know. I might tinker with it. I might see if I can take a peek under the inspection plate, but all in all, she doesn't sound very good. So I'd say this is a successful will it run, because it will run. Is the motor good? Doesn't sound like it. Whatever. That's what you get with cheap cars that you have zero information about. Anyway, hey, let's go ahead and end it off here, just in case I don't tinker with it some more. Like, subscribe, you know the deal. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for the support. Check out the website, www.bestdamnshoparound.com. See you next time.